to start with you because this week we watched an episode and then we watched a show called Watch What Happens Live. And we have this Melissa Gorga and this Joe Gorga are in the audience and your name comes up. A caller calls
First question, just so I want everyone to know, they screen all the questions. So they knew not, Melissa and Joe didn't know, but Andy's crew knows. They screened the questions and that was the first question out about me and what happened with them. So go ahead.
So the question was what? Like, what's going on with this new feud, this reignited feud?
Well, no, the guy said, Melissa, what do you think about Kim D tweeting out that Joe's a coward? And she's like, well, Kim D somehow, still makes herself relevant. She doesn't go away. Then, you got to give her credit for that. She has a podcast. They think, I guess, that I have my own podcast. They're not realizing that me and you do this on Saturdays. But anyway, so then they switched to Joe Gorga and he goes, I love Kim D. I have to say I love Kim D. And then they switched back to Melissa. Melissa goes, you know what? I happen to like Kim D too. And then they dropped it, and what's his face? Andy Cohen goes, we're still talking about her. And then, oh my God, Watch What Happens Live tweeted. They keep tweeting out what she said. They're all in shock. They're like, wait, what? What did they say? They love Kim D. They like Kim D. It was really interesting. It's all over. I mean, they kept tweeting it, retweeting. I answered. I put thanks for the love at Melissa Gorga and Joe Gorga. I wonder where that came from.
Well, okay, we're going to break down where that came from. Now, let me say a few things. Now, look, I don't want any mention on Watch What Happens. I don't give a fuck. But don't think that Melissa Gorga and Joe Gorga don't know exactly what you do every week with David Yontef. They know. Right. They right. know. Of course I have like Beverly Hills housewives that like know what's... But
Melissa knew. No.
They know.
Melissa knew. Yeah, she was the one who said it. Andy was like, what do you mean? It's because she has a podcast. Like, Melissa knew. She knew. She came right out with that.
And you know what? That's not an ego thing to me. That's an ego thing to these listeners. Like, guys, we have a grassroots movement here that let me tell you, these Saturdays have gone from like A to Z. Like, people are, this is not, I don't discuss.
I agree.
I don't discuss numbers with people, but this is a real thing here, guys. So everyone should pat themselves on the back. This has nothing to do with me. It's like the audience. This is like a grassroots.
Fabulous. They're fabulous. The audience is fabulous. They all DM me. They're all looking to help. One of our listeners who's fabulous sent me a lot of info on the appendicitis situation with the stress. Well, we'll go over next week, because we have so much craziness to go over this week. But she sent me all documented medical things that state that I was correct, that stress could have brought this on.
For like Teresa's appendix, huh?
Appendicitis, yeah.
So, right. So Melissa knows you're behind the belt. She knows. Yes, and Jonah, they know exactly where it's coming from.
Yes.
So now let's just back up. Here are some questions that I had. So where does this come from? I mean, they have not said anything nice about you for a very long time. And now we have this like thing that happens because Joe Gorga does an interview and he says these things about you. And this is a real platform here behind the velvet rope. And I also have the connections to the media. So now a couple of things. Do you want to first say what happened with Joe Gorga off air? Would you like to tell these people?
Well, with Joe Gorga, we had mentioned it last week. Joe Gorga was on a podcast and for no reason at all spewed out. I don't even know everything he spewed out, but he said he would rather have Kim G back. That's no big deal. That when he sees me, he doesn't look at me or talk to me, which David knows is definitely not true. And that I look like who did it and ran, trying to knock my looks or whatever the case may be. There was probably more. I just didn't want to listen to it. And I was told by my PR what was said. I shot back a tweet. And when I hit one time, you go down for the count, you don't come back up. And basically called him a coward, said he likes talking about women's looks, how Gia checked him at 21 years old, and blah, blah, blah. Okay. With that, that's what the guy, the listener of Watch What Happens Live said. What do you think of Kim calling Joe a coward? But in the interim of all of this, before Watch What Happens Live, one of my mutual friends with Joe, who he does business with, it's a woman, calls me up and said, Joe feels bad. He wants to, he has nothing but good things to say about you. He's sorry about hurting your feelings. He's sorry about saying these things. He doesn't mean it. He likes you. He was blaming it on the fact that he's a comedian, but nothing that was said was funny. And he goes, he reached out basically apologizing, like he didn't want to, he's sorry he said it. So I'm like, okay, I'll accept that. But then this is what happened. I watched What Happens Live. And, basically, I love Kim. So it is what it is. I'm accepting it for now. I'm sure if we see each other, we're going to be cordial to each other. I don't think they want to fight with me. The same thing because there's two reasons. One, because they know how I am. Two, because they know now we have a platform here that we're going to hit back for all of them. I don't care who it is. We're going to hit back. Okay. You want to hit us first, we're going to hit you back.
Well, that's just what it is. Like, that was the point I was trying to get at. Like, let's forget about Watch What Happens, guys. Like, before that, Joe, because who knew?
Joe
didn't know
reached
that
out.
that question was going to be asked.
Nope.
So even after that, even after last week, you said all this stuff about his apartments and everything. That was a direct result. Joe reached out to his mutual friend and said, I want to talk to Kim.
Correct.
So that's a big thing to me.
It's a big thing. And Bravo is watching closely, just so you know, because they're tweeting it and they're watching closely. I mean, they need some help coming up, and they're just I'm just going to tell you something. They're watching closely. Let's just leave it at that.
Let's just leave it at that. Now, right. So Joe reaches out to this mutual friend before Watch What Happens. I want to talk to Kim. I mean, that is shocking to me.
Shocking.
So let's break this down, because you just said there were two reasons, which I agree with. So one, you say that they know how you are.
Right.
What do you mean by that?
Okay, that I'm a truth teller, that I'm going to tell the truth. You want to hit me? First of all, I would like to mind my own business, but if you come for me, I'm coming back at you, and I'm coming back with the truth, and I'm going to say whatever I need to say. And there's not going to be any repercussion for me. There might be repercussion for you, but there's no repercussion for me. Okay. I'm an open book. So they know, Joe knows that what he did opened up a whole can of worms. Okay. Now, let me go to one other thing that's going to be discussed down the road. I have major connections with both sides of the law. Okay. I was just told today about something so major about Luis Ruelas. I'm going to say his real name. When I tell you major, David, major, I am not privy to discuss yet, because it's coming from an inside source that is amazing, that they are directly with the federal government. They are them. And they're saying some crazy